Hello, beautiful Pisces, and welcome to our April 2021 reading for this very vibrant, intense, colorful month. If you are like a lot of the people that I've been doing a lot of these readings, and there's just been this thing happening where everybody, all signs are kind of realizing how much they've changed and where they've grown and where they're coming to life. And there's this weird discomfort that comes with that when you really are engaging with the vibrancy of that change. And when I was looking at your energy, we've just finished Pisces season, right before April begins, obviously. And so we're in Aries season and all this energy in your second house and the sign right next to you. This is a really potent time, and the words that came to mind for me were Venusian medicine. Working with Venus's medicine this month is going to be huge for you all month, all Aries season, and even into Taurus season. Venus rules Taurus. Venus will be moving into Taurus as well this month in about mid-month, along with Mercury and the Sun will all be moving from Aries into Taurus. But during this whole month for Pisces, this is a beautiful time to work with Venus, Aphrodite, all these beautiful goddesses or energies that have to do with deep pleasure, beauty, art, self-worth, self-love, joy, enjoyment, the sensuality of being here in a physical body, and also the sensuality of beautiful thoughts. So, a lot of times I talk about soothing and healing and all these different modalities, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we do our shadow work, the way we accept grief processes or exhaustion or our own mystical kind of like hidden intuitives. Like we've been talking about that for the last several months for Pisces, just that trusting your natural innate gifts to be able to hear, from the hidden world. That's so great. And I love all of that work. But sometimes it just comes down to something really simple. And in this case, for me, it's just coming back to the things that just fill you up with joy. And they don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be expensive. They often aren't complicated or expensive. That's the thing. It's like finger painting when you're 3. For me, that's part of Venusian magic. It's not always just about cheesy chocolate in the shape of hearts and lingerie. It's a joyfulness and a simplicity that's not looking for all the reasons why you can't have joy and pleasure in life, right? And just, you put that all away. You put that down. You just say, and you just go for the things that make you happy. And I mean, really happy, not the quick fixes, not the bag of chips or the binge watching, but the creative process, Ace of Swords. And that's what I'm seeing for Pisces. And I love that. I'm like, it's a good practice to remember how to do when that message came through. The Fool. What better icon for just having fun and finger painting is there than the Fool? Yeah, I think, we want to be good spiritual practitioners, right? So we make sure we're doing all these things. We're doing our shadow work, and we're listening, and we're meditating, and we're making sure we're doing the grief work, and being just really good students of life. And that's great. But it's all got to be in balance. And judgment. Ooh, I love that. You know why? Because there's so much healing in Venusian medicine, in self-love, self-trust, playfulness, pleasure, joy, medicine. In the simplicity of that type of medicine, there is so much healing. It's maybe one of the most potent ways that we can heal and come back to why we're bothering doing all of this stuff in the first place. Why are we bothering being down here in bodies, trying to protect ourselves, trying to make sure we survive, and our bodies are, often built with mechanisms to make sure we survive trauma, survive attacks, all of that's going on. And sometimes it's easy to forget and lose sight of why we're here. And then we come back to Venus's practices. There's a rebirth and a renewal going on here, my friends. Ace of Swords and the Fool. These are such beautiful rebirth energies. They bring to mind just a vibrancy of soul and spirit that's so strong. And there's a clarity to this energy. Once again, this is not about running around in circles, coming up with all the reasons that we can't do those joyful, pleasure-filled things because we're too busy, because it will cost too much, because we don't know how to start. Cuts all of that out. And it's just as simple as trying it out and seeing what happens, right? Not worrying about, oh, what'll people think, or what if it doesn't become something I want. I feel like these practices of self-love and self-trust, it's not about, sitting down and being like, I'm going to paint a painting and it's going to be the perfect painting. And when I show it to people, they're going to be so impressed. Who cares about that? Who cares? Oh my God, such a boring question. I'm sorry. That's so boring. Who cares if somebody likes your painting? Really? Sorry. I mean, it's a boring question to ask. And this part, the fool has no interest in that. It's gonna be like, what are you talking about? Just sit down and paint, see what happens. If that's what's calling to you, start going on fast-paced walks and see what happens if you go for a mile. If you've been wanting to go for long distance hikes or something, just start and see what happens. And that's what that energy is. Now, here's the thing. There's something deeper going on, and it has to do with that self-love, self-trust thing. There's always something deeper going on with the simple practices around joy and pleasure. Queen of Cups and Judgment. These cards are about release of emotional heaviness, healing by listening to our soul, healing by letting go of generational trauma. And it's really interesting that message came up because, often we have generational messaging that tells us that I keep going back to painting. It's just a really classic example, if you're somebody who's really loves painting, which I love painting, and your family's always told you that the arts are, and this is just so classic, the arts are no way to live. That way will lead starvation and devastation, and there's no value in it, and there's no security in it, right? That's like a really classic one. Then you start to feel like if you spend an hour in a week painting, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. You're breaking some kind of social code that says that this thing is less valuable than these things because, right? And what I'm seeing here is it's not just going on a walk. It's not just doing a painting. It's not just dancing around your apartment to a song that you like. As much as it is just those things, it's also breaking down and releasing and washing away the messaging that has told you that to do that is to waste your time, to do that is to be less valuable of a person. And instead, it insists on your value and on your ability to listen to your soul and to bring more of your soul into this world and share it and shine. And also just for the sake of you getting that chance to bring your soul into the world and dance with it. That's enough right there. And it is revolutionary in its own way, even though I really have an interesting relationship to that word. Oh goodness, I don't want to get into into the intensity of that word right now. I think we're going to stick with this conversation around joy and play and how huge and important it is. How much it is the work. Oh God, yeah, it really is. I think meditation is great. It relaxes us enough to sometimes hear our own souls speak and to get us into play mode. Being willing to sit with shadow side, great. But when it really comes down to it, there's nowhere more effective and faster at showing us the path forward than play. There really is nothing more effective. And it's so undervalued culturally as something that is juvenile or selfish. And that's so interesting to me. How that has come to pass, that we've put play and we've put creativity just for the sake of creativity in this weird category of valuelessness when it's one of the most valuable things we have as humans. with souls moving through this world, interacting with it. So it's a really simple message. I mean, like, honestly, when I look at this, it's just Pisces, you got a simple message, and it's a really powerful one. This is a month of healing. This is a month of transmutation, and I'm seeing that in these cards. It's a month of forgiveness, and not forgiveness necessarily for others, forgiveness for yourself as well. And with that is coming new energy. There's a new beginning happening here. There are some new breakthroughs. There's some new opportunities. But don't look for them too hard. Don't strain your eyes trying to look for them in like the complex story. They're right with you already. You may be looking past them and they're literally in the room with you. The little doorways. What a thought, huh? I'm thinking about that because it's so easy to do and we don't even realize we've missed the piece. And then we see it and it's like, oh my God, it was sitting there this whole time and I just wasn't letting myself have it because I've been told that that's valueless culturally for so long that I couldn't even see it anymore. This month as well is a month of renewal, rebirth. If you do feel like you're holding on to pain from the past or pain or trauma from this last year, kind of afraid that if you let it move through you and release from you, that you won't be doing it justice. In play and in release and in that Venusian medicine, and I'm coming back to that, especially with this judgment energy here. It can really help your body process trauma. It can really help your body process sustained stress, right? Like long-term stress that has used up all of our adrenaline and released a lot of cortisol in our bodies, which does take time to recover from. Play can help us release from all sorts of things that are held in our bodies. So it's not superficial, it's not selfish, it's self-full, and it can help you shift with the seasons and with this change in the way the world's working, and it's a really great place, Pisces, to do that. One final thing before we close out this beautiful reading that I love so much. This is like my favorite reading so far, I think, of April. There's just something so potent about this energy. When we get more into Taurus season on the 19th and moving forward for several weeks, think about how you talk to yourself and notice if there are any dialogues or monologues that maybe you want to freshen up and shift a little bit, because it's very subtle. And, I am definitely somebody who is guilty of this. Guilty, I don't want to use that word, but like who has done this and because I have my own survival mechanisms I learned very early on that are generational, that have to do with, really being on my game and being anxious. They're not like who I am, but they are there. And sometimes they sneak in and they start like taking over. And I'm like, wait a second, the inner dialogue I'm having here is one that's really not doing me any service. Taurus season is going to be wonderful for Pisces to just kind of go in there, look around a little bit, dust off the shelves, and put some beautiful stories, put some beautiful dialogues, put some beautiful conversations on the shelves and practice into them and have really great affirmations. And I'll get more into that with you in May, because the rest of May Taurus season is going to be potent, really, really potent. So we will get into that powerfully. And one last thing I just remembered, this will also be true in May. Mars is going to move into Cancer near the end of the month, fellow water sign. That's going to fill up your heart chakra with a lot of energy for movement, for creativity, for play, for childlike joy. So that energy is going to keep moving forward with you. So trust that. Don't undersell it to yourself. It's so potent and I love this energy. So I'm excited to see where it takes you. Please comment and let me know how April is feeling as it's happening. I would love to hear from you, even if I don't respond to every comment because I get a little overwhelmed. I really love reading them. So please send those, and like, subscribe, hang out with me. I love having you here. You can also find me on Patreon if you're looking for a little more support and guidance. I would love to see you over there. We have weekly chats every single week. We do activations for retrogrades, for outer planets, for moons. It's a great space and a great, really affordable resource if you're looking for more guidance. I would love to see you there. You can also find me on Instagram and my website. I'll leave all of those links below, as well as a link to PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. I'll leave all of those info below. I hope you have a beautiful and dynamic and Venusian April. I'm sending you all my love, Pisces.